All right, this should be good now. All right, everyone, welcome. I'm gonna just share my screen and let me quickly share this on Facebook so I can get people from there as well. All right, and let's go to our YouTube as well so I can see the chat there as well. All right, let's get it. All right, I think we're good. I posted on Facebook as well. I'm gonna share on my other channels as well, and then we can go ahead with asking any questions that you might have. First of all, how are you doing today, everyone? No. All right. So I think this is not just only for the Ask Me Anything, but anyone of you who wanted to catch up with me. Move to trash. There we go. So we're going to just chill a bit, talk. I wanted to do some work today, but I think I'm gonna relax for a while and kind of chat with you all rather than just get into the code. Santosh, hey, how's it going, man? How's it going? How's the weekend today? How's the weather today? I'm gonna share this really quick with the other groups as well, which was, I think, free code camp. Yeah. And let's see if I can share this to other groups as well. What is this called? Kick-Ass Coders? Yeah, that's a really nice group as well. All right. There we go. I'm gonna also share that on You've done your first project on JS, Santosh? That's amazing. What did you build? What did you create? That's cool. What's going on, Chad? What do you like to do on weekend actually? I had a really good weekend, or at least the start of the weekend was really good. I mean, I actually went to this place in where is it? It's in Kista, here in Stockholm, and it's a South Indian place, but they have halal food as well. So we went there, and me and my wife we got some really good breakfast. We had what do you call it? A paneer dosa. And Santosh, I think you can relate with what I'm talking about. So yes, we had a paneer dosa. We had chicken paratha, but the name there was chicken parota, which was a paratha kind of cut into really small slices, and then chicken kind of mashed, not mashed, but when you kind of cut it into really small pieces for sandwich, for instance. And then we had tea, and that was super amazing. I mean, absolutely loved it. Imran Khan says, "Hi Essen, hi to you too. How are you doing today? How is it going, sir?" Pum pum pum. How's your weekend, guys? I was having a lot of DMs in the question, so I thought about answering those. Um, so those of you who have been asking the questions uh, can get the answers. Santosh says, "I'm a South Indian. I miss parota because of lockdown." Yeah, totally understand it, man. Pandemic sucks. I mean, the only thing that I can say might have been good about this is people working from home, spending more time with their families. But yeah, at the same time, it's really different for other people. For instance, I can talk about Swedes, that Swedish people I love to go to the offices, or there's a culture in the West, that the people usually want to separate their work life with their personal life. So they want the work to be done in the office, and then when they come home, they're totally free. For us, at least for Pakistanis, that's kind of difficult sometimes, and not the culture as well. But yeah, it depends. But I hope that you get the parota sometime soon. That would be awesome. All right, one of the questions that I got from someone recently was, just let me see my chat. Yeah, so I'm not gonna name the people who are asking the questions, but I'm definitely gonna be answering those questions. So one question that I got recently was, brother, I don't have a software degree. Will I have the same chance outside Pakistan or in enterprise level job as a person with software engineering or CS degree? So yeah, the answer for that is, when talking about working outside Pakistan, it's really important that you have a degree. It's not really crucial, but it's definitely preferred that you have a CS degree. So I would recommend that you either have exceptional skills and you can prove yourself in the field when you go, or you have intermediate skills and then you have your degree, and that kind of sums up really well. But having skills is a must if you're working in Pakistan, or if you're not working in Pakistan, then that depends on your skills. And yeah, degree is a really good thing to have. I will not vouch against having a degree, so definitely something that you should get. Can I get some advice for starting up with interview preparation? I'm currently entering third year. Yes, definitely. I think what I usually do for preparing interviews is, first of all, I try to get if there are any resources online for the particular company that is trying to that is trying to, or that you are trying to go for the interview for. If there's an online material that I can find, I usually do that. Otherwise, I usually go for videos on YouTube for the particular interview. So if you are working with JavaScript, I would recommend going through the interviews. And it's not like you're trying to hack your way to the interview, but it's more like when you look into the interviews, you learn more. Or when you learn into interview questions, you know what are the important things that you should be knowing when going for an interview, and also what are the things that you should learn with the particular technology, for instance. So yeah, definitely I would recommend looking for the interview questions. So looking for interview questions about JavaScript on the internet, and also looking for interview questions videos on YouTube. Those would be my suggestions. You built a simple to-do app with JavaScript. Amazing. That sounds good. I think that's the very thing that most of us do when working with JavaScript. So good work. I think the only difference that you can make with the to-do app is how you modify it in terms of CSS or styling. But yes, as long as you're doing that, that's totally good. All right, I'm gonna get more questions from my DM, and this is for those as well who will watch the videos later. So yeah, I hope this works. One question is there any Angular boilerplate which you could suggest to use while developing Angular? So I would recommend not using a boilerplate, because they usually, I mean, it depends. If you're really in a hurry and you want to get things done quickly, then it depends on what kind of application you're building. For instance, if you are just building a to-do application, you might not want a lot of things like Firebase or even UI libraries like Tailwind CSS. You could just start the fresh application and then go with that. But if you're looking for a really complete solution, then it depends on if you want a backend implementation in that one, or if you want database as well. What kind of server are you trying to communicate with? That also depends on that one. So there's no single answer on what is the best boilerplate to use. It depends on the kind of thing you're trying to build with. But yes, that works. All right, let's see further. Make it to your story an hour ago. All right, let me go with more questions. Okay. I wish I would have curated the list somewhere at a single place, but no, I haven't. So no. All right, one question that I see is, so Santosh says, so is it good to move on to React, or should I get my hands dirty by building more projects with JavaScript? So know this, that JavaScript at its core is really important, and that's something that you should be learning always, because even now, working with JavaScript for 8 years now, I don't leave the core JavaScript behind ever. I keep looking into what is happening in the JavaScript core. For instance, its standards always change. We got ES5, JavaScript ES6, ES7, ES 2019, and then ES 2020, and then it moves forward. So you have to make sure that you learn the core JavaScript anyways. I mean, I wouldn't vouch for just going for React, just for going for Angular. If you don't know the core JavaScript, then you're not going to be a really good JavaScript developer going forward if you don't know the core concepts of it. So highly recommend keeping up with JavaScript. So if you are really beginner, you start with the JavaScript 101 course. If you know JavaScript a bit more, then you try building with JavaScript a bit more, or try to create projects with vanilla JavaScript a bit more. and then you also try to, and I'm not saying that you should stick with JavaScript only. You should be learning React, you should be learning Angular. These frameworks have high demand of job, so your job will be based on your experience on React and Angular, or for instance if you're working with Vue.js, it doesn't matter. But essentially whatever platform you are working with, you have to make sure that you know about core JavaScript as well, otherwise it won't work. Which language or course should I do to start my freelancing career as soon as possible? So there is no answer to that, to be honest, Zen, because it doesn't matter what you have learned. Freelancing is completely different, and it depends on your previous experience. It's not dependent on your languages or the course that you have learned. It depends on two things. One, if you have already done projects, then it depends on your experience, or you have enough portfolio to show, which means that you can show your GitHub projects that you built on your own, and they should not be, and I'm going to get back to what kind of GitHub projects, but essentially you should have to show something for the projects or for the clients so they can sort of rely on you, right? Because if you can't show that you have skills, then no one is going to hire you. So in terms of courses, it depends on, first, what language do you prefer or what interests you. Are you interested in web development? Are you interested in mobile development? Are you interested in something else? It depends on you. So first of all, try to learn the skill. That's the first step. You try to learn the skill, and then the second step is you show that skill to the entire world, which means that you make your skill public. You essentially build something and, let's say, deploy it on GitHub. If you don't know, there's a way for deploying web application to GitHub for free, which is by using the GitHub pages. So if you deploy your pages there, you should be able to get more traction for freelance. I can actually show you something real quick. Let me quickly switch to my live screen. So here, if I go to my GitHub, you can see that I have a lot of projects here. So this is what I mean by showing your work to the public. So you can see that I have this library that I created, and a lot of people in the world use this library. But essentially, if I want to tell someone who is technically good that, hey, look at my code, then I would just share the link of the GitHub repository, and the person can go into the code, see all the files, see what work I've done here, see all my commits, see the quality of the code that I've written. But if there is a person who is non-technical, then I would potentially show him things that are non-technical, non-code related. So I'm gonna probably share a link with the demo, and which is this one. So this is a library that I created, and if you use your user agent string, it essentially tells you what kind of device the Angular app is running on. So in this web application, I can see that my operating system is Windows, my browser is Chrome, my version is, or OS version is Windows 10, the device type is desktop, the orientation is landscape, this is desktop, this is not a mobile, not a tablet. So this is that I built, right? So if you have your own ideas, you can deploy them on GitHub, and this is using GitHub pages, right? So you can see that it says coderlabs.github.io, and then this is the repository name. Similarly, I have more projects as well, like this one. So calendar, and I can show the demo as well. So not just the code, but actual demo. So this is a demo of the calendar that I built, and you can use this calendar within your Angular applications. And then, yeah, you can check it out how this works essentially. But yes, the idea is that you create portfolio and then you try to get freelance work. Otherwise, no one is going to give you work, because there are already a lot of people in the market who are more experienced than you. So you have to show your experience. Hope that answers the question. Which language or course should, no, I've gone through that. Zanelli, have a look at the book Pajama Profit to get started with freelancing if you already have a skill. That's a cool recommendation. I didn't know about that book. I'm gonna look into it. But yes, that book also is considering that you have skills already. So yeah, that's a completely different story. All right, then we have web or mobile, but I want to go for cybersecurity in future. Then make your mind up. You cannot go into multiple things at the same time and be good at them all. So either go directly into cybersecurity, or if you are willing to go for web, then try to be really good at it, because even in the future, even if you have like 10 years of experience and in the 10 years you switch to multiple things, you went from web, then mobile, then something else, you will not be an expert in one particular thing in that case. For instance, I'm a Google developers expert in Angular, and that is because I've spent a lot of time focusing on Angular, focusing on the internals of Angular, and focusing on creating content on Angular. If I switched my focus or my technology every now and then, I would not be an expert in anything. I would be able to do multiple kind of things, of course, but I wouldn't be as good in one single thing, or I wouldn't call myself an expert. So yeah, I would recommend, if you're into cybersecurity, then try to focus on that. But if you have financial concerns, like if you want to start a job right away, then yeah, you would have to look into web or mobile right now, and then you can switch to the other ones later. All right. Girish Parate, where are you from and why live at night? That's a good question. I'm in Stockholm, Sweden, and here it's about 7 p.m., which means that in Pakistan it's about 10 p.m., and if you're in India, that would be 10:30, right? And yeah, the only reason I'm live is because I just got free. I was doing some groceries in the morning, and now I'm not doing anything, so I'm kind of free at the moment. All right. Let's see. $10:15. Yep. That makes sense. It's 6:45 here, so we are like 3.5 hours behind you. All right. I'm looking into more questions. I'm good, Girish. How are you today? How's the weekend going? How's the situation there? Are you and your family okay? All right, let's look at more questions. Yes, this one is interesting. How did you go to Sweden? That's a good question. So how's the situation in Sweden as well? Yeah, I'm gonna come to that as well. So how did I get here in Sweden? I was reached out by the recruiter from Klarna on LinkedIn, and the only reason that usually happens is that you have a really good portfolio. So yeah, I had a really good portfolio on LinkedIn and also on my GitHub, and the recruiter basically reached out to me when I was working in Pakistan. I was working back then for a US based company called Modus Create. I think I worked for them for about 2.5 years, remotely from Pakistan, of course. And yeah, then they reached out to me. Then I had the first interview with Klarna. Then I was invited to Stockholm for the second interview, and then that happened. Then I cleared that as well. And yep, then within a few weeks, I got the work permit and the residence permit as well, and then I came here. How's the situation in Sweden? The situation in Sweden is good. They became a bit strict in terms of rules, in terms of, you know, when you go even with your partner to a restaurant, you cannot sit together, you have to sit apart, like you have to leave one chair in between, even if you go together, because of the social distancing rules. But I have heard that now, since it's summer, almost summer, and the weather here is getting a bit hotter, I think they are kind of easing up on the rules a bit, but I've not seen that yet. In terms of COVID, I don't think that the situation is bad here. In terms of vaccines right now, the only from what I know, only people above the age of 50 are getting that. It's not our turn yet. What else? Yep, that's the situation. And I already got COVID back in February, maybe, or maybe even before that. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I got COVID already, so I think I'm immune to that now. Although I try to keep the social distance, and I also wear mask whenever I go somewhere. So that's that. Lockdown here, but all looks good here. Just watched one movie. Did you go to the movie theater for that, or did you watch it at home? And how did you watch a movie when there's a lockdown? That's an interesting one. It looks like it's sort of the lockdown from Pakistan, because I heard when there was a lockdown during the Eid time, I heard that the shops were closed completely, but around each street where there were shops, there would be one person that you could go and talk to, and then the person would just take you like in kind of a cover or undercover, and then would take you to the shop. Yeah, Girish, where are you from? Oh, you watched on Netflix? Cool. I think the only thing that I'm watching on Netflix these days was Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh, I also started watching the recent movie that was launched on Netflix, that was something Zombie Army or what? Let me check. Army of the Dead. Yeah, but I've not finished it yet. I just started it last night. I was working, and then I also started watching the movie. All right, I think if this session goes well, I'm gonna be having more to answer the questions that I usually get. Pum, pum, pum. We're probably gonna do this for 30 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. Come on, Girish. He knows, Santosh knows you're from India, but I think he's asking from where are you in India? Zack Snyder. Yeah, yep, that's right. And Zack Snyder reminded me of the movie, what was that, the Justice League movie, Zack Snyder's cut. And then I watched it first, and then I started watching the other one, the original one. And yeah, I think I couldn't watch the original one more than 15 minutes, and that was too long, because I thought like, nope, I liked Zack Snyder's version more, because I think it was more light-hearted. Zanali, does uni degree master in CS degree or not? Oh, matter in CS degree or not? If only skills matter in computer science, then why should someone go to expensive university while go for virtual uni and learn skills online? Really good question. So the thing is that universities are not meant to be to be for jobs. Honestly, universities are there for you to learn things and then just implement those learnings into the real world. And unfortunately in Pakistan, and maybe I'm not sure how it's India, it's in India, but in Pakistan, unfortunately, universities are just a matter of getting the degree, and then if you have a degree, then you get married. If you have a degree, then you get job. But honestly, universities are there to learn things, not to get job. But that's the culture, unfortunately. So in actual, I did not do my masters in computer science. I did my bachelor's, and as I said, the mindset there is just to get the degree and then to get the job, and that's what I did. But I didn't do masters because I didn't want to just do masters for the sake of degree or to get benefit in my job. I would do master when I would want to learn something and be really good at it, and I think I'm going to do it from here in Sweden. But yes, to answer your question, in Pakistan, if you have a master's degree, that might not affect your job a lot, and you should not want your master degree to affect your job. If you want to do masters, then that means you should be willing to learn something new, or do masters for the sake of masters. Don't do masters for the sake of job or increments in your job, so to say. So people who go to expensive universities, they go there for good teachers, of course. They go there for the environment that the university provides, and then their experience overall. So yeah, to answer your questions, university degree does matter in your job, but it depends from place to place. If you're doing, let's say, a job which relates to managerial position, then definitely your master's degree would count there. If you're doing a job that requires exceptional CS skills in a specialized field, for instance, if you are working on a position that includes research, then obviously having a master's degree or a PhD can really help you. I'm thinking to go for the 2-year ADP program for virtual learning. Can I apply for foreign after having 14 years of education? That depends on place to place, but essentially, if you have a bachelor's degree which is a 4 years program, that is definitely more value than whatever you just mentioned. So know this, that in order to get, or in order to even pursue your studies abroad, if you're going to go abroad for studies, then you should have a bachelor's degree. Then you have to get your equivalent degree for the foreign country. For instance, if you're going Canada, then you would have to get an equivalent degree or have it created from the HEC, which requires your degree. So you send your degree and your documents, and then they give you an equivalent degree for Canada, and then you send that to the embassy, and then you are allowed to, let's say, immigrate there for, or even go there for further studies. So yeah, a bachelor degree, a proper bachelor degree is important in that case. But if you talk about skill sets, I know a lot of people in Sweden who are working, who are doing their jobs, and who are dropped out of universities. So here, in some particular companies, it doesn't even matter, but for some companies it matters. So I would recommend do what you feel like, and then try to find a job that fits you, because there are jobs that look into skills more rather than the degree. Because my degree was just talked about once and never again, so that's fine. I see that we have a lot of viewers in the chat. Feel free to say hi and ask any questions, because this is the Ask Me Anything session. And I would love to answer your questions today. Usama Qureshi is asking, hey brother, this is Usama, how and what should I learn to become a GDE? That's a really good question as well. So before becoming a GDE, you should be an expert already in a technology. So let's talk about how you can be an expert in the particular technology. You have to learn the technology first, then you have to be practicing that, so you know a lot of use cases, a lot of problems, and you usually do that by building things. So I would say the learning path of anything is to try out different things, build applications, build samples, promote on GitHub, ask questions from different people, show them your work and ask for feedback, and then you'll keep practicing that, right? Once you think you're good enough in a particular thing, for instance, if you are my friend and then one day you just say, hey Asan, I'm really good at JavaScript, how do I know that you are good at JavaScript, right? Then you have to show me by either showing your portfolio or something else, or your applications, so to say. But for GDE, it's important that you have contributed in the community and you have made an impact using your technologies. So I see that in the chat you're saying you are an expert in Flutter with 3 years of experience. Then that means that you have to now show your expertise, and you can do that by writing articles, by creating videos, by speaking at different conferences. So start looking into conferences that are happening in or around you. For instance, I'm speaking at an online webinar tomorrow for the NED University students. And you can look into different universities as well. If you have connections, you can ask different professors or even university students if you want to give a talk about Flutter in their university, and that's a really good way to get started. So you reach out to them, you say, hey, I want to teach students, or I just want to provide this facility, or if you are interested in, I can take a webinar. So once you do that, you can note this down in a Google spreadsheet, and this is what I would recommend for everyone who is willing to become a GDE. Create a spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, and then write down all of your achievements or all of your tasks that you do. If you have written an article, write about the title of the article, the link of the article where you have posted, and then similarly, if you create a video, then the link of the video, the title of the video, the date when you published it, and similarly, if you speak in a conference, the title of the conference, the date of the conference, and what was your topic about. So write these all down in a Google spreadsheet. This is the way to becoming a GDE, right? So you note down all of your things, and the reason for noting down all of this is that when you get nominated by someone, so first of all, you cannot apply to become a GDE. There's no form that is open for everyone, right? You can be recommended by someone who is already a GDE or a Googler or working in Google. And when you get nominated, then you are interviewed, and before even the interviews, you have to fill a form in which you list down all your activities, your conference conference talks, your articles, your videos. So you cannot show your apps. It doesn't matter how many clients you have worked for. What matters is how many people you have impacted with your expertise, right? So Google looks for community impact. Google doesn't look for your job, because a job is what you do automatically, and Google doesn't have any benefit of it. So I would recommend start contributing to the community, because and the reason for that is Google is not going to ask you to develop apps for different clients, right? Google is asking you to promote their technology. That is why they give you the title of Google Developers Expert, because Google has a benefit of you being an expert, because when Google launches a new technology or when Google launches a new feature in Flutter, and if you are an expert, Google knows that this expert is going to deliver the knowledge. This person is going to promote Flutter, right? That is the benefit that Google gets. And as experts, we get the title of becoming an expert, and then we can use that to get freelance projects, to get different things as well. I'm looking at chat so I don't miss any question. Girish says Zack Schreiner rocks. Then Univeral says, yeah, in Sweden most students get a job before the graduate and then they never go back to graduate. That's true. Hasib says, kindly explain what should be the skill for backend development with Node.js as a fresh graduate. So as a fresh graduate, you should start building applications with databases. So for instance, try creating an application that is a to-do application but for different users. So a user would open the app, then log in, and then should be able to see all the to-dos that the user only has. Now this would require you to implement authentication at the backend, database at the backend, then database queries, then API calls. So do these as a fresh graduate and then you can move forward. Universal is asking, what is a GDE? A GDE is a Google Developers Expert, and a Google Developers Expert is someone who is an expert in a Google built technology. So let me share you one link really quick, and I can actually not just share the link but show you in real time. Give me one quick second. Just chatting. There is this one and there is this link. So sharing my screen. So if you go to developers.google.com, you should be able to see developer programs, and here you should be able to see Google Developer Experts, and when you click here you will see all the experts that Google has right now. Just give me 1 second because I see the webcam being reverted. Flip horizontal. Now we're good. All right, so the experts program by Google is something that allows or that acknowledges experts in the Google built technologies throughout the world. I believe I should be in this image somewhere. Yeah, this guy is me right here, the one in the red shirt and black jacket. And then we have other friends like Mashood. I think Mashood should be somewhere around here. And then I think Awais was with us. No, this is Mashood and this is Awais from Pakistan. But yeah, so this is the experts program, and if you go to the directory, you should be able to see a lot of Google developers experts in different technologies. For instance, this guy is an expert in Angular. This guy is an expert in Firebase and Google Cloud Platform. Then this person is in machine learning. This person is an expert in web technologies. Similarly, if you try to find someone from the location, you can also try finding them. And then if you search for SN here, you will see the marker, and then you see my name here, and it says category in Google. What's really good is that you get your own profile page, and then you can share this with all the freelance project clients or your recruiters, for instance, because this is obviously hosted on google.com, right? A subdomain of google.com. So yeah, you can see definitely the information here, and then there are other links as well. So I think Universal, I think you got the idea of what a Google Developers Expert is. And then Zain Ali, what is the roadmap to be a GDE? As I mentioned, first you have to be an expert in the particular technology, which means that you should spend a lot of time working for a particular technology so you can become a GDE, or you can be called even a GDE. So GDE is just a badge that you get and you put it on your shirt, for instance, but it's just a badge. You have to be an expert already. So if you're not an expert, you cannot be a GDE. So the first thing in the roadmap of becoming a GDE or a Google Developers Expert is you have to become an expert, and you do that by practicing the technology, getting good at it, and you get really good at a particular technology when you start teaching it. For instance, I give talks about Angular all the time in different conferences, and when creating a talk, I have to work a lot on the talk or on the slides of the talk, for instance, during which I learn a lot. So if I have to teach you let's say how to get started with Angular, then I have to learn how to get started with Angular, right? So a roadmap would be to first become better at a particular technology and then start teaching it. And you do that by writing articles, as I said, write articles, create videos, and also try to speak at different conferences. Open source contribution is a really good way of showing your expertise. Try creating different open source libraries, and that's a really big thing, so don't try it right away. But there are also already some open source libraries that you can contribute to. So I think who was there? Usama Qureshi, you mentioned that you have a lot of experience with Flutter. Try going to the Flutter repository and try to see if they have any issues in their repository and try to fix them. For instance, if you feel like there is something missing in Flutter today, you can create a package, or how you get it from the pub.dev website. So you can create a Flutter package that others can use, right? Similarly, you can do other things. The point is, whatever you do for the community is going to be counted when you're being nominated for the GDE position. And one thing that a lot of people don't know is, once you become a GDE, it's not that you're going to be a GDE for forever and ever. The GDE title goes away within a year if you stop contributing. So if you stop contributing, you are going to lose your GDE title, which means that you have to continue contributing, continue writing articles, continue creating videos and whatnot. So you have to keep contributing, otherwise you will lose your title. That's as simple as that. So the point is, GDE again is just a title. You have to continue doing whatever you are doing, and if you're not enthusiastic about creating videos, creating articles, then there's no point being a GDE, because you lose your title if you don't continue to work on it. So it's not just a title, it's also a responsibility to spread more knowledge, even because now you are bound with a title, so to say. Right, let's change some lighting here. All right. Cool. Any more questions that anyone has? What did you folk have for dinner tonight? It's already 10 p.m. in Pakistan, and it is about 10:40 p.m. in India. What did you folks have for dinner today? Just looking at some of the messages that I've received recently. I'm not sure why I've received so many friend requests on Facebook. Oh, 94 requests that are pending. Okay, I'm gonna look into when I can look into those. Andewala burger, Zainali, did you have that with your family, or did you have it alone? Because Andewala burger is something that I used to eat a lot, like seriously a lot. Brother, what are the things that are count to apply as a Flutter developer in a foreign country? Good question. Look, to get a job, you need to show your portfolio and your experience, and you do that by, again, posting about things you work on. If you learn something, you post about that. If you do something cool within a Flutter project and you learn a new thing, try creating an article about it. Try sharing it with different people so you can talk about it on social media. For instance, I can tell you that, and not over exaggerating or being proudy about it, but I get job offers every day on LinkedIn, almost every day, if not every day. And that is because I keep sharing things that I do on LinkedIn. If I'm going to speak at a conference, I share that on LinkedIn. If I work on a particular project on GitHub, I share about that. If I write an article, I share about that. So your LinkedIn for a job is super important. You have to have a really good profile on LinkedIn. One more thing that you can do is, which is absolutely important, is when you work with someone and if the project is about to be ended, then ask your team members to give reviews on LinkedIn, or how we call them, recommendation. This is really important because the more recommendations that you have on your profile on LinkedIn, the stronger your profile is. If you want, you can go and look at my LinkedIn profile. You can easily search me on LinkedIn, and then you go to the recommendation section and see how many recommendations I've got. And that is because whenever a project is ended, I usually ask my peers to give me a review based on the honest feedback that they have for me after working on the project, and they are obviously good. So I get a lot of recommendations in that case. So have recommendations on your portfolio, and then when you apply to foreign country, that should be really easy. And now foreign countries also provide you relocation. For instance, the job that I got provided me relocation from Pakistan to Sweden, right? So don't worry about getting a job. Just make sure that you have enough things that people reach out to you automatically. Live Dev says, which mic are you using for recording? I'm using an AT&T USB Plus. Yep, and that's what I'm using. It's AT 2020 USB Plus mic. And I did have one more mic, which was the Blue Yeti Snowball, the ball-shaped mic. I don't use it anymore. I got this, and one interesting thing that I also got this one from Google in the Developers Expert program. So you get some things from there. Does degree make much difference when applying for a job in foreign countries? Faris Hussain, yes, it does. Especially in foreign countries, you should have a degree. That is a must for most countries, but it's not for every country. So you need to find, if you don't have a degree, then you need to find jobs which are okay with it. The first and foremost thing, or the primary thing, is your skill set. If you have a really good skill set, it doesn't matter if you have a degree or not. But again, if you have a really good skill set, if you are just an average developer, just like everyone else, and you're not standing out, then obviously you would have to show other things like your degree, your experience, and whatnot, right? So it's either this or that. Live Dev says, love your background of Free Palestine. Obviously, man, this is something that we should all be sharing about, and that is the idea. I hope that things get better, because it's not completely okay yet. Inshallah, it will all be good. So I know that Zain Ali had the Ande Wala burger. What did you guys have for dinner? I see that people keep joining and dropping, and that's really interesting. I think I shared on Facebook, so most of the people should be from Facebook, but some of you might be actually subscribers. That's also really interesting. By the way, how many of you do read books anymore? I mean, apart from the academic books, do you read any books? I think I'm gonna play some games after the talk. I mean, I wanted to work, but we'll see. I might play some Call of Duty. Brother, should we have to explore other technologies or just to stick the one technology like Flutter or React Native? Good question. There's no harm in switching technologies or in kind of poking around different things. But I would say that try to become an expert in at least one of the technologies. So yeah, I mean, one of the seniors that I work with in Colviz mentioned this to me, that there are two kind of people usually. One is who always stick to one thing and become a master of one, and then there is a jack of all and master of none. But in this industry, it's good to be the person who is an expert in more than one. So first thing, you have to be an expert, and it's really good if you are an expert in more than one things, but not just that you're trying a lot of things. So consider a person who has 5 years of experience but 1 year of experience in each of the 5 things that the person does. Then the person is not an expert in either of those, because it's just 1 year that they have spent. So if I have a Flutter project and is a person with 5 years of experience just has 1 year of experience of Flutter, I'm not going to give it to him. I'm going to give it to someone who has 5 years of experience with Flutter, right? So yeah, explore other technologies, but stick to one for expertise always. Because I've worked with React, I've worked with Angular, I've worked with a bit of PHP, I've worked with a bit of Java, I've worked with Flutter. I worked with Flutter a lot, especially for videos, but I always stick to Angular for expertise. LiveDev said, I'm not a big fan of reading books. I feel you, me too. I didn't read any books after my graduation, which was in 2013, but I recently started reading books, and trust me, you get a lot of knowledge from books. So I'm now becoming a fan of books, and I'm going to be showing some of the things that I learned from a book that I'm reading right now, which is Data Structures with JavaScript, Data Structures and Algorithms with JavaScript. And there are some really good things that I'm gonna take inspiration from, and then I'm gonna share some good content by molding things here and there on my YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. So Osama says, as we are already rolling, I didn't get your question, but yes, I think I hope I answered your question. Stick to one thing for expertise and then try exploring further things as well. Farid Hussain, what's the tech stack at your job? Good question. At Klarna, the technical stack that we use is React and React Native, and on the back end we are using Node.js. So we have Node.js microservices. We have a different microservices for each of the features that we have, and there's a distributed responsibility of each feature to different team, and each team contains or each team owns a set of features within the Klarna mobile application, and also the microservices that are related to that feature. So it's React, React Native, and Node.js most of the time, but then it depends on the team to build with whatever they feel like in terms of database, in terms of tech stack, but yeah, that's what we have. And that's interesting because being a GD in Angular, I still work with React and React Native, but again, as I said, you have to be an expert in one thing. So I don't leave the grasp of Angular ever. I keep learning that, either doing test projects or experiments, or I basically work on my open source projects. So yeah, that helps me keep track of Angular at all times. And to be honest, I think the only things I know about Flutter is from one project that I've done, and then the videos that I've created on Flutter. I wouldn't consider myself as a Flutter expert, or I wouldn't go asking for other GDEs to recommend me as a Flutter expert to become a GDE. I cannot be an expert in Flutter, at least at the moment, because I'm not focusing on Flutter that much. I'm focusing on Flutter in terms of videos creation or content creation, so I can teach more people how to do things. But yeah, I don't have to be an expert myself. All right, I think we're doing really good. Do you guys have more questions, or should we wrap this up for today? If not, then I think I'm gonna be hopping off. If you want to have a look at my LinkedIn and my GitHub, I can definitely share a screen and show you that. So you probably can get an inspiration. Or even if you want to see my resume, I can also show you that. There's a lot of delay in YouTube versus the chat that I'm seeing. It's super interesting. Drive. I think we are good with questions, right? Because I don't see any more questions. If that's the case, then we'll call it a day. What mic are you using for the video creation? The mic that I'm using is called AT2020 USB mic. Let me share the link with you. Plus so it's an Audio Technica. No, I opened the wrong link. Let me share the link in the YouTube chat. This is the mic. So there's a mic that I use, then there are some lights that I'm using, which are called key lights. Faris says, I'm also feel like I can teach. I'm thinking of starting a channel. Obviously, man, do it. As soon as possible, do it. Your content doesn't have to be great in the beginning. You can always learn from the feedback from others. Just start creating content and then start promoting it. And then you should be able to get more traction. And the more you teach, the more you learn. Obviously, that's a must. I know that Khanit does a lot of teaching as well. So yeah, I would recommend each of you to start teaching or start just making small videos. Even if, for instance, if nothing, you can just create a video that explains how to work with for loops, or how to work with JavaScript functions, what is a closure, how does the scoping work, what is the difference between let and const, some examples to explain those. And I know there's already a lot of content out there, but you can create one and then you can share it to the people, and if they watch it from you, why not? Just don't copy someone else's content without giving them credit. That's going to be really bad, and I see that very often in the industry. So if you try creating content, take inspiration from other people, but yeah, do not copy the content. Exactly, that's what usually people do. I'm going to show you the book that I'm reading these days, if I can find it. Yeah, let me get it actually. Just 1 second. All right, back. Let's see. Yeah, this is the book that I'm working with at the moment. Learning JavaScript Data Structures and Algorithms, 3rd edition by Loane Groner. And this is the 3rd edition by Pact. And this is this publisher Pact is the one that I have written the book with for Angular. So yeah, this is the book that I'm reading right now. It has some really good content that I'm gonna take inspiration from and create content out of. Yeah, but then I think, what would my channel make difference, because people are already teaching almost everything. It doesn't matter. I think what you can do is, I mean, try to see if there's content in Urdu, for instance, right? Because if you create content in Urdu, you have a big market in India. They can watch your code, and then try to create content from different websites explaining different things. For instance, if you go to web.dev, they have a lot of good things that you can teach about. Look, if you try creating a video just explaining for loops, and you say, hey, this is a for loop, and then we create from I to 10, and then we print some name, that's something that everyone is teaching. But what if you could teach the for loop explaining a particular problem? Let's say you could create it like, hey, consider kid Bob who went to school but didn't do his homework. So now the teacher has asked him to print, let's say, I am very, 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 very sorry 100 times. How would you do it with a for loop? Then you can, teach that and then create it. So make your video interesting, and then people would obviously see that and take inspiration from this. Hope that makes sense. By the way, I got this guy today. Let's see if I can show him to you. Pretty scary and pretty cool at the moment. This was in the bookstore, and the bookstore had certain figures as well. And then also, since it was a bookstore, there were certain things as well. I wanted to go and get my get a duster for my whiteboard, but I couldn't get it. They didn't have it, because right now what I have is a marker with a duster top, but that didn't work really good. Farizan says, sounds good, thanks, no problem. Hey brother, from HTTP and DIO package, which one is the best to choose for the project? What is a DIO? I haven't seen DIO yet. Is it an npm package? Let me check. Yeah, I see DOM read write. No, I don't see DIO. What is a DIO? Yeah, from what I see on Google, I don't see what DIO is. Wa alaikum assalam Khoyab Ali, how's it going today? क्या हाल है? कैसा चल रहा सब? So I don't know what DIO is. If it's a package that is used in Node.js, then not sure. Really not sure. But yeah, if you can give me links, I can probably see them as well. Flutter DIO package. Ah, okay. I've already used the HTTP package. I have not seen DIO yet. Let me have a quick look, and then I'm gonna compare this with pub.dev with the HTTP package. What problem does DIO solve which HTTP doesn't? So I see that on Flutter, HTTP package has 2712 likes. The DIO package has 2191 likes. So HTTP package has more likes. That's the first. According to pub points, 130 points for HTTP and 130 points of DIO. Okay, so it looks like really simple. So a powerful HTTP for helping interceptors, global configuration, form data, request cancellation, file downloading, timeout, etc. Okay, interesting. Okay, so it really looks like DIO has a lot more things than the HTTP package, because I think the HTTP package is really simple. Yeah, the HTTP package has nothing more than the HTTP calls itself, but the DIO has cancellation, HTTP2 support, HTTP certificate verification, handling errors, cookie manager. So obviously DIO package. My answer would be DIO package even without using it. I think I'm going to use it in the next tutorial that I'm going to be building. So yes, Flutter DIO package, or DIO, or DO, however you want to call it. Hobab says currently my focus is on Angular and React.js. Okay, that's good. I would highly recommend that you pick one over the other. Either do React more or either do Angular more, so you can become an expert in at least one of those. Or maybe enough, or you could spend enough time on both that you become an expert on both of them. But the idea is to become better at least one of them, so you can call yourself an expert, and then when someone is about to hire you, they hire you for the thing which you are an expert in. You're welcome, Adil, you're welcome. By the way, again, chat, whoever is watching, please make sure to give a like to the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not, and leave a comment, because this really helps the algorithm of YouTube to help the channel grow. So if you get benefit from the channel, try giving back to it as well. What is your thoughts on React.js? React.js is good. It's fast. It's easy to use. It has lesser learning curve compared to Angular, so it's good. So every framework, it has its good points and bad points as well. What I don't like about React is that people, or if there are 5 engineers within a team, all 5 can basically use React differently. So it becomes really hard to create a standard within React projects until you do a lot of tooling with ESLint or with other things as well. So it becomes a bit hard to maintain React projects on large scale. With Angular, that's pretty much really easy, but then Angular has a lot of learning curve, so it's not really easy to get started with, and React has a really small learning curve, so it's good in that matter. Do you see the future for Flutter, or the native app development is better, Swift, Kotlin? So Adil, no one can beat the native development. I mean, if you talk about Ionic, React, Flutter, they cannot beat the native development, because it's like, I mean, if you get a bike and then you have, let's say, an original engine with the bike, and then you replace it with something else, which is a Kabuli engine, or I'm not sure Kabuli even is an original, but if a first copy of the engine, you will not get as good performance, right? And the reason for that is compilation time, and then also rendering. There are a lot of things involved in that. So if you compare it with Swift and Kotlin, that's totally unfair, because these are apples and oranges, they cannot match. But the point of these frameworks is to code once and use everywhere. For instance, Flutter is something that you can write your code on. You can run it on web, you can run it on mobile, you can run it on IO devices like, you know, automatic doorbells, or when you see there are screens in different restaurants, so you can control that as well. Flutter is now being used in Toyota cars as well. So the point of these frameworks is to learn one technology, and then you can use it everywhere. So it's still very performant, Flutter. For instance, जैसे हम पाकिस्तान में कहते हैं 19-20 का फ़र्क है, तो that is the case, but we can't talk about Flutter beating or being better than Swift or Kotlin. That cannot happen at all. As Pakistani, I can understand Kabuli. Yes, obviously. These days, new technologies are coming very fast. This scares me. You don't have to be scared about this. This you have to sort of embrace it, because that's what a software engineer is about. It doesn't matter how many years of experience. If you don't keep up yourself with the technologies, you're going to be obsolete, or you're going to be not as good. So it's nothing to be scared of. It's something that you have to do anyways. It's similar to, like, if you don't have a job, then you won't be able to eat. So you don't have to be scared of that. You just have to do it, right? So and also every technology has its own implementation and its own requirement. For instance, when I started back in 2013, I was hearing like, hey, PHP is gonna end. There's no future for PHP. PHP is bad. PHP is this and that. And nowadays, even PHP is really good, and it's still being used in a lot of companies. So don't be scared of the technologies. Just focus on the technology that you are working with, and be an engineer. Don't be a technology specialist. There's no point in being a technology specialist. The software engineer is supposed to be an engineer, and an engineer is someone who can use tools to build something, right? That is the definition of an engineer. So being a software engineer, you should solve problems. It doesn't matter which technology you are using to solve those problems, so that when you switch to a different technology, you don't have to be worried or scared. You can solve the same problem with a different technology, and just the syntax would be different. The path or the solution would be similar, right? So that's the usual idea. Thanks for the comparison, brother. I was not sure which one to pick for my career. Just stick with one and be an expert in that, and that's what usually works with all of that. Your thoughts on React Native versus Flutter? React Native is good. I wouldn't say. I personally like Flutter a bit more, and the reason for that is that Flutter has a better syntax in my opinion, but people could disagree. I think that Flutter is really good in terms of rendering, in terms of animations, in terms of the layout that it provides, in terms of the features that it provides. I really like Dart. I really like the type checking in Flutter, which is not there in React Native unless you use TypeScript for it, for instance. But like null save, sound null safety is in Dart. The community support is amazing. You get a lot of packages out there. Google is supporting Flutter. They're working on it. They're investing on it. So I personally believe Flutter is better, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, as you asked my thoughts on React Native plus Flutter, I think that in my opinion Flutter is better, or I like Flutter more, but people could disagree. Adil Malik says, I recently discovered your channel from the navigation drawer tutorial. It was totally remarkable. I thank you for that as well. You're welcome. I'm really glad that I could help you out. And yes, as long as as long as it gets benefit to you folks, that's all that matters. Flutter uses Dart, so we have to learn Dart first. It's again the same thing. You should learn Dart, but it's not a prerequisite. So try to find tutorial that build something using Flutter, and when you're building those things with Flutter, you'll also learn Dart along with it. So there are two things. One, learn how to build things with Flutter, and in that you'll learn Dart. And the second thing that is even better is that you learn Dart itself in a different thread. So you, in parallel, you start a course with Dart 101, and then you learn the language itself, by which you will create better code and better content. So it's not a prerequisite, but it's recommended that you learn Dart on the side. But you don't have to learn it before you start learning with Flutter. Similar to, you don't have to learn JavaScript before you start working with React. You don't have to learn JavaScript before you start working on Angular with TypeScript, or you have to learn TypeScript before Angular. you can learn it on side by side, but you should spend some time in learning the core concepts of the language. That is really important. One little question, please. Where have you bought this cool chair? I need one as well, if possible, to get a price as well in which you got this. So this chair is a Secret Lab chair, and you can Google this as well. I'm not sure, or I'm pretty sure that you cannot get it in Pakistan because it's in the Europe. So I'm not sure, to be honest. But you could try. If they ship, then that's really good. I can try to share the link. Secret Lab chair, secretlab.eu. So the chair that I'm using is called Secret Lab Omega, and I can share the link in the chat as well, and I can share the Omega one as well. And this is a chair that I've seen a lot of gamers and streamers use as well. But yeah, it's a really good investment, to be honest. It comes with this neck pillow, and it's really good. It uses some cool gel technique, and then we also have this this lumbar support, and as you can see, it says Omega as well. Nope, this way. Yep. And then it has the Omega sign here, as you can see. So yeah, this is a Secret Lab Omega chair. So if you want, you can definitely get it. I have seen some chairs like DX Racer, and there was also one more company that I can't recall, but my brother got one chair as well, which was a gaming chair. So you can get one of those, and I would highly recommend investing in the chair. You should have a really good chair if you are spending most of your day sitting on it, right? Because I spend a lot of my time during the day on this. So we buy expensive mattresses for sleeping, which is only 8 hours, and then we don't spend much time or much money on the chair on which we sit like 12 hours maybe on the day. Khobab Ali asking, how did you learn Flutter? Please share your roadmap and your learning methods. I learned Flutter when I was working on a freelance project. That was the first time that I interacted with that, and as I kind of dug into it more, then I started understanding what Dart is about, how Flutter works. So yeah, that was my first interaction. But you don't have to do that. You just can start looking at Flutter to-do list or to-do app tutorials. Don't pick something that is really complicated because you're going to be lost and then you'll give up. Just start with something like a 1 hour video or a 30 minutes video that teaches you something that you can build along, right? I know that Maz Aftab has really good tutorials on Flutter. I'm gonna be having, I actually have a really good talk about Flutter that I can share as well. So let me quickly share with you. So if you want to really get started, I have a video that is getting started with Flutter. Let me try to find it. Yeah, getting started with Flutter and Flutter for beginners. Boom. By the way, chat, whoever is watching the stream, I would highly appreciate if you can just type Free Palestine or hashtag Free Palestine in the chat. Just spam the chat with this message as much as possible. Add as many messages as possible. So yeah, this gets shown on to more people, so to say. So yeah, I shared the video that you can use to get started with Flutter. I'm going to be giving a talk for the NED University students tomorrow, the IEEE chapter. And yeah, I'm going to teach the same thing to them that I've used in this video. After the project, so continuing on the thing, Khobab, that once I did the project with Flutter, then I actually implemented some really cool things in that particular project. So I took that out, and then I thought, hey, what if I could create a video out of it that thing that I built in the project. And because when I tried to implement and I didn't find anything on the internet, that was something that I could think of, that hey, I should probably create a video because other people could also learn from it, right? And that's when I learned about it more. So yeah, you can do the same. Try building something, and if you learn something, create a video about it. It doesn't have to be really good, but essentially when you do it, you'll learn more. And then I think my Flutter Stripe payment series is something that has been the most important thing within my YouTube channel. It has given me the most traction, it has given me the most subscribers and the most viewers. And I think when I got the 4,000 views on my YouTube channel, or actually 4,000 hours of view on my YouTube channel, the Stripe payments video was the major factor in that. And because that was something that was not out there, and yeah, my videos basically helped a lot of people, so I have a lot of comments on the videos as well. And then people started asking me, hey, can you build a video on this one? And then I said, okay, I'm gonna create a video on that, and then that helped also. So yeah, just start with that, and yeah, keep your faith in Allah, and then yeah, you get on the right track automatically. It helps always. I was supposed to end the stream half an hour ago, so if we won't have any more questions, I'm gonna go and play games. And also everyone who is watching the video, please make sure to like the video, share it on your social media, and yeah, subscribe to the channel if you have not, and make sure to leave a comment. That really helps the YouTube algorithm and to help the channel grow. And also you can see some social links that I have on the description in the video. So if you've not followed me on, let's say, Instagram, GitHub, Twitter, Facebook, you can definitely do that. I'm even on TikTok. I don't create the TikTok videos that you usually see there. It's more about me sharing about any conferences that I'm gonna speak at, or any tutorials that I share about. There are going to be some interesting videos as well, but that's not going to be the typical TikTok videos that we usually see, because that usually requires music, and I don't prefer music. And the music that even you hear here in this video, it's not using any instrument, which is obviously haram. All the sounds that are in this sort of audio that you hear is from the mouth itself, so it's called nasheed. So it's not essentially instrument created music. Inshallah, you'll be the first dev YouTube pro. Inshallah, I'm trying to be, but I know that there are already a lot. I mean, if you don't know, there's a channel called Easy Approach by Maz Aftab, and he has a lot more subscribers than me. Alhamdulillah, he has 15,000 subscribers. So if you want to look for good content, I can definitely recommend Maz Aftab, which is this. And Maz, if you're watching this video, you're welcome. Hate TikTok? Hobab, I absolutely hate TikTok as well, specifically the content that is super shitty, and 90% of the content is super shitty. But we do have some really good content on TikTok as well. It depends on the creators that you follow. There are some really good creators who provide like tips and tricks that you can use, or hacks, but the most of the creators are just dancing around and babbling of different things that I don't like. Don't tell me the headphone you're using as well. I'm planning to create my work desk. I'm using the Logitech G Pro X or Logitech Pro X. I can share the link of that as well. Logitech Pro X gaming headset. This is a really good headset, so to say. I think I can share the link on YouTube as well. Can I share it? Will it let me share it? No. Okay, I think I got this. Yes, got it. Sharing the link. So yeah, this is, oh, my camera died. Just give me 1 second. Let's see. Why did you die on me? Let's see if this becomes alive. Yes, sir, it does. I think this is good. All right, I'm back. But my camera is back as well. Cool. Can you link someday all of your accessories in your description or your Insta? That's a really good suggestion. I didn't even think about it. I'm gonna do that for sure. For sure. I'm gonna link about all the lighting, and the headset and the microphone, obviously. Khobab says I'm working under Hunan Bhai. Yes, sir, you are, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a really good experience. What are you working on exactly? Are you working with JavaScript or Flutter, or what? All right, I think I'm gonna get off in about 5 minutes. Oh, I didn't think about it. No. Let's see. It doesn't do it automatically. You're working with React.js? Awesome, sounds great. Good choice. Goodbye, thank you for the nice session. No problem, I hope that we can connect again. I'm gonna be having these just chatting or ask me anything sessions as well. I think it's a really good way of connecting with you folks or with the community, answer any questions, telling what I'm doing these days or what I'm focusing on, and then asking you what you're focusing on. So it's a really good way for me to connect with you folks, because I'm here in Sweden, far away from Pakistan, so it's really good to connect with you folks. And yeah, let's keep doing that for sure. And I've also finished my wafer rolls. If you are in Pakistan and if you have something like this, there's a brand that's called Redondo. No, there's a brand called Biscotto. So if you go to Chase, I think you can get that, and I highly recommend that. But just don't eat too much at once. It's really bad for health. But yeah, if you have Biscotto, that is an amazing set of wafers that I always had in Karachi, and I absolutely miss it. But this one was not so good. I still had to finish it because I spent my money on this one. But yes, I'm missing Biscotto now. Adil says I'm already interested. Of course, yeah, let's meet next time. Hubab Ali says thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining in, everyone. That was super helpful. I would highly appreciate you that you one more time just leave a hashtag Free Palestine in the chat. And then if you have not liked the video, do that. If you have not shared it on your social media, just share it. So more people can just look at it, because we had some really good question and answers, and I hope that if other people have other questions as well, they can get the answers from this chat. Otherwise we'll have it maybe next week or the week after, and then we'll talk about things more. I'm already interested in bro. I love JavaScript. Recommend me pure JavaScript book. I can't recommend you pure JavaScript book at the moment because I don't have one. There was a course that I shared recently. I'm not sure if you saw my Facebook, but there was a course that was free. Are you on my Discord or not? I think you're not on my Discord, right? If you're on my Discord, then I shared a free course that was on JavaScript, and within 3 days, I think there were almost 2,500 people who enrolled in that particular course. Let me try to find that course. Free courses. Yeah, I got the link. I'm gonna share that to you. Copy link. Sharing that in the chat. So go to this Twitter link and you'll find the link to the JavaScript course that Chris Sev created recently, and it's about JavaScript fundamentals. Do learn it, or do enroll into it, and then yeah, you can use it. Saeed Ahmed is asking when you are coming to Pakistan. Unfortunately, the flights are not opened yet for us, so it's not much travel happening right now in the Europe even. So it's really hard for me to say when I'm coming to Pakistan, but most likely not this year, but maybe next year. But I'm going to be connected with you folks over this call, so we can chat, we can ask questions. And if you are not on Discord, you can join the Discord server where I share a lot of content, a lot of free tutorials, a lot of free events that are happening as well. I'm going to share the link of Discord in the chat. Just give me 1 second. This link is going to expire in 7 days, so if you want to join, you can join it right there. It's just like Slack but for communities. So I'm trying to contact, or I'm trying to be connected with the community by sharing different content there. Yeah, I just shared it on the chat. And in Discord, if you chat more, you get more level ups. And in the future, I'm going to be making moderators who have a certain level, or who are really active in chat, active in sharing content, active in talking to different people, asking questions. But yeah, that's gonna be something that I'm gonna do going forward. All right, everyone. I think we're good with the stream, and I'm gonna go play some games before it's time for Maghrib here. It's 8 p.m. right now, and Maghrib is around 9:45, so I'm gonna be playing some games. Yeah, I'm gonna be going into Verdansk. Hubab knows pretty well, or maybe I'm gonna play Rebirth, but yeah. Awesome. Thank you everyone who has joined. You have been amazing. As I said, make sure to like the video if you haven't. Make sure to follow me on the social link so you can see what I'm doing. You can connect with me, ask questions. Feel free to message me anytime. I usually answer within 1 hour because I'm usually socially active. And yeah, let's take it from there then. Awesome. And have a good weekend, or have a good Sunday up ahead of you. And I'm gonna be seeing you next week, or maybe the week after. I'm not sure. Now you will turn into Halaka. That's right. Awesome, everyone. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz. Stay happy, stay healthy, and happy coding.